So last week I said I was going to chase light, and this week was way better than last week, but it wasn't perfect. I started to feel like things were clicking at the end, and I think I realized something. I stopped chasing light, and just quick clarification: it's not that I gave up on it, but I started letting it come to me instead. Welcome to the Summit Lab podcast. This is a place where I explore ideas about photography, creativity, family, and the long road of trying to build something meaningful. I'm Chris, and this is the Summit Lab. So, early in this week, I was struggling with last week, and this week I went in and I had hope. I didn't have real high expectations, but I had hope. And then it started raining, and my goal was to go and chase light and find light. And I had these dreary days where the sun wasn't even out, and I wasn't sure what to expect. But I knew that I wasn't going to be able to go out and capture that quote unquote hero light that I was expecting. And what I found was that I got some real like subtle emotional and like interesting light with some trees and things like that, softer light. And it made me realize that light doesn't have to necessarily be dramatic to make it work. And that was cool. And then in the middle of the week, I had just some busy days, some rush days, stuff going on with the kids again, and just places that we had to go and things that the events that the kids had. And so I was excited to shoot because I started to get better images, but I was rushed again. And there were a couple days where just nothing really hit for me. It just it just kind of it just felt rushed and just kind of blah, just kind of boring. And I did start to see like patterns and lines and shadows and things like that again, but I felt like I was falling back into the same problem that I had last week. And I got a little bit nervous. Um, and I didn't really force things, um, but I settled for some images that if I would have taken more time or um, maybe came at a different time of day or just waited. There was one moment um, where I was getting ready to go to my kid's performance, and there was this cool. I was like in like the downtown part of my town here, and there's like this really old theater, and it's like empty. I don't even know that they do stuff there anymore, but it's got like the old um, like I don't even know what marquee I think is, yeah, the marquee. It's got this beautiful marquee and like a huge like uh neon sign, and it was still daytime. It was maybe 5 o'clock, but there were not a ton of people passing through. And I composed a shot that I liked the composition, but there was no subject. And I just kind of got tired of it and ended up going to the side of the building. And if you follow me on Instagram, I got the image of the shadow of the palm tree on the side of the building. But as I was getting that, a guy rode his bike around and passed right through the frame of what I was going to capture. And I was wearing cowboy boots. I was dressed up a little bit, wearing cowboy boots, and I literally started running to try and go capture it. But by the time I got there, it was too late. And so it just made me realize that sometimes you just got to be patient. Um, but the end of the week, really yesterday and today, I had what I felt were some really big breakthroughs. Um, that's where I really just started recognizing light and and then figuring out a way to capture it. Um, so yesterday was actually, I thought it was going to be another blah day. We were busy. I didn't even leave my house, and it was getting towards the end of the day. The sun was setting, and I'm like, I haven't even captured an image yet. So I went out into my backyard, and I was like, okay, let's see what we can find. And something just caught my eye. Like there was some the sun was setting, and so I was starting to get some blasts of light through the trees of that really beautiful golden light on some of the things in my backyard. And I got some cool photos of leaves and stuff. But again, it just felt similar to the stuff that I'd been doing in the past. And the light was going quickly. Like as soon as I would see something, I would have moments, and then the light was gone. And we've got these lights in the backyard, like those cool, like big old bulb lights. I don't even know what they're called, like incandescent lights almost, string lights. And we have those in our backyard. And I was thinking, man, this could be really cool. Like if I just captured one of those and then let the rest of the lights in the string just fall off um, into the background. And I started composing it different ways until I ended up getting a really cool shot that I liked. It just focused on one of the bulbs, and because the bulb was so bright, I exposed for that, which made the background really dark, which worked out. And then you had this string of just bokeh lights tailing off to the right, and it was like what I was expecting I would get in the beginning. I just wasn't able to see it yet. And then something even cooler happened. I was like, okay, I got a shot for today. I'm sure that there's something there. I can process that. And I went to go feed my dog, and as I walked into the garage, it just hit me. The sun was setting, and the light was blasting through my garage doors with the absolute most beautiful light. And I ran back inside, and I grabbed the camera that was just sitting right there on the table, and I took it out, and I started photographing like straight on. And it was cool, but didn't really it didn't strike me. Like it wasn't something that I thought was really good. And then I just started like moving to try and find a way to better capture this moment. And again, the light was going down fast. I should post the frames, all the frames, just so you can see how fast it was going. But what I did is I got to an angle and used the light as like a line all the way through the frame. And I really love the image. It's so simple. It's just light coming through the glass on my garage. But it just created this beautiful pattern and this line leading into the frame. And it was just something I was really happy with. And so I'm starting to just see things and recognize it almost immediately, and now it's just like, how do I capture this? Um, so it's really starting to like guide what I shoot, and I feel like I'm getting more, quote unquote, story driven images. Um, and reality is, I didn't I didn't need like perfect conditions. I didn't need perfect light. I had to see it and recognize what the light was doing, how it was hitting subjects, or how it became the subject or a supporting member of the frame, and just learn to compose it. And again, I feel like I had a breakthrough at the end of the week here. Um, it also made me realize that I didn't need to chase photos. A couple of weeks ago, I was traveling, getting in the truck and driving to different places every day to try and capture photos. Um, and some of my favorite photos from this whole process were literally taken of my garage door, which is insane. Um, and so I guess the problem wasn't really where I was, it was just how I was seeing. And I'm not gonna stop traveling to take photos. Those some of the moodier photos in the rain, I actually got in my truck and drove around and was like looking for something. And I probably spent like 30 minutes driving around in my truck looking for stuff. And the hard part about that was just getting in and out of the truck. There were moments where I'd park the truck, go photograph a bunch of stuff that I had just seen, and then I'd get in the truck. I'd drive 100 feet and go, oh, here's something else I want to go look at. And so I'd park the truck, get back out. And so I might just start taking like a bike around or something just to make it easier rather than driving the truck around. But anyways, this week was fun. I had a lot of fun. Um, I wanted to touch on a couple other things. I tried that 2.8 lens I got last week. I started the week off with that lens, and I realized that I just didn't love it. Yes, it was a little bit smaller. This is the I'm back to the 1.8. This is the 1.8 lens, a little bit longer. It's width wise, it's the same. So it's not huge. It's not a massive lens. It's manageable. I don't mind carrying it. It does give me more light. The quality is so much better. The bokeh is so much better. And so I'm back to this lens. I'm gonna sell the 2.8 lens I got. I don't know what the heck I'm gonna get yet, but I'll probably just trade it in for something else. Um, and so again, it just proved that like gear wasn't really the answer. Um, the backup systems are working well. The drives that I'm using, I've got it dialed in now. It's super fast. I'm really happy with that. Next thing I need to set up is like an offsite backup. I used to do that back in the day, 10 years ago. I used to keep a separate hard drive at my mom's house that I'd back up like once a month. I need to do something like that again. I've been, one thing that I really started this week, I guess a little bit into last week, but I started writing down all my thoughts before I even got to the computer. My buddy Adam had sent me a video about that and how like when you actually take pen to paper, you can articulate your thoughts better. It just makes you take more time. I can type faster than I can write, and sometimes that's good because I can just type and get stuff out really quick. But what I've learned is just writing down my thoughts lets me go through them first and just kind of articulate my ideas, and then I take them to the computer and put them in to just um, more articulated thoughts based upon what I wrote. And then normally I put it into like AI to just help me compile it and just better sort through it. AI is really good at that. One thing I won't do, I refuse to do it, is just let AI write stuff for me. I always have to write it myself first and then let it help me kind of clean it up. Um, and so that moves me to next week's experiment. And I want to build on what I learned this week. And so the experiment I'm going to do this coming week is I'm going to have to see the image before I take it. And what I mean by that is I'm just not allowed to take the photo until I can identify the subject, the light, and the frame that I want. And if I can't identify those three things relatively quickly, I'm just going to move on. I'm not going to try and force photos or just have random shots and hope that something works. I want to force myself to start seeing the image in its finality before I even pull the camera up to my eye. And so I think I'm at that point now where I can start doing that, or at least have a chance at doing it. Again, I know it's going to be hard. I've been pushing myself so hard during these experiments with trying to stretch myself, and I've struggled a lot. But I can definitely see myself growing. And my goal with this is just to try to train my instincts and lean into what was working over these past couple days. I actually got another shot tonight. I was rushed again, but I was able to get a pretty cool shot tonight, just literally in the car driving home, pulling out of a parking garage. Saw something that I was like, oh, this could look cool. Um, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just make sure that I have intention behind the shot before I even take it. Um, this week wasn't perfect. It was definitely progress, definitely better than last week, like miles ahead of last week. I was really discouraged after last week. And what was more encouraging was the end of this week and some of the images that I was able to capture in the last couple of days. And I finally feel like I've stopped chasing light and I've actually started seeing it. And so that's encouraging. Um, I will write more about this in my blog that will come out on Tuesday. I've got to formulate those thoughts, write them down first, and then I'll get them into the machine and publish those on Tuesday morning. I'll probably put some of the high resolution images that I took this week there if you guys want to take a look. And I thank you. This is the Summit Lab podcast, experiments in creativity, storytelling, and building a meaningful life.